Yeah, generosity for me, or at least the way I've seen it displayed, and how I've seen it work within me. Oftentimes, it's been through the vehicle of financial means, of money, material things. I think of generosity just being something that we selflessly and sacrificially, an act of selflessness and sacrifice, typically with financial means, and so yeah, that's kind of how it's played out in my life. I love being generous. That's something that's just kind of natural with me. I love giving gifts during Christmas and birthdays and things like that, and being able to financially, give to someone else, or it is heartwarming. It does feel good, and so yeah, I think that's what generosity is to me: selflessness and sacrifice, and joy too.
Yeah. I kind of similar to for me as well, but I also think of there's a material aspect of generosity, but I also think about our time and our energy as also being a form of being generous.
Mm-hmm.
Spending time with people, especially when people are going through difficult times. Energy, just being excited for others and encouragement, and just being positive, and those are ways of being generous. I've learned to be generous over the years. I didn't grow up being like that because of my family circumstances.
Like generous with financial.
Yeah, financially. Yeah. But I've learned to be better at that, just because God's been generous to us. And so it is life-giving to help those in need, especially financially, because, you never know, they're struggling and they can't make ends meet. And if we can help them, that's a beautiful thing,
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think that's what God intended for us to do as people, to just help one another.
Yeah. Yeah. That's good. Yeah. I think that's what generosity, means to us.
Yeah.
Money, but also your time and your energy, an encouraging word, or that you do this really well, is just to be there to listen. That's generosity, and so it plays out in all kinds of different ways. But I think ultimately, right, it's about selflessness and sacrifice.
Yeah.
And,
it really is.
And then also joy, finding joy in that. Yeah, it's good.
You don't just bless others by doing that, you also bless yourself.
Yeah.
You really do.
Yeah.
Because what you give is what you receive back.
Yeah.
And so you give that positivity, whether it's material-wise, financially, or your space, your time, your energy,
Mm-hmm.
you will receive that back.
Yeah.
And so, it's a
good.
blessing. It's a good thing.
Yeah. Man, really, I know a lot of people have mentioned this in these interviews, that so many different stories where I think we've seen God be generous. There really are countless.
Yeah.
And they really go from really small things that are not financial, that are just people listening and being there, to from small non-financial to big. Small financial to big financial, big, it's just all over the spectrum, where we've seen God just really give and be generous to us.
For me, for us, I mean, I feel like, at least for me, I learned that through the church, right? Like giving more of yourself, in the sense of you're, growing up, there were 7 of us, right? And so things were always tight. So for us, money was surviving. We needed it, and we weren't giving it away because we had to provide for ourselves.
Yeah.
But then, finding God and our relationship, and seeing what the church was doing, we learned how to give, right? And to help others. And in that process, man, God has really taken care of us. There's so many stories that I can think of, finding diapers, right? We had our firstborn and we ran out of diapers, and we were running low on money, and we were like, oh my gosh, what are we gonna do? She needs diapers. And we found a big old box of them underneath our bed. I'm like, obviously I must have stored it, but whatever, like it was there. Like I was like, okay, look how God provided. Or, we always share the story about when you needed a haircut and we had no money and you were in the military and that was mandatory or you could get in trouble, and you got a $20 gift card out of what was it, Fruit Loops box?
I think it was Trick cereal.
Yeah, tricks are made for kids. Well, yeah, not that trick.
Wow.
That was a blessing. And then, one year, this was a big, huge giving, or the way that God blessed us was we were needing a new vehicle. And at this point, we already had our kids, but they were little, and we were doing a lot of traveling back and forth for Isaac because of the hospital. It was about 2 hours away, and the car we had during that time was failing us. And a member of our church found out that we were looking for a minivan. And he came up to us and he's like, I want to give you our van. And this was a good condition van. Like, it was great. It was beautiful. And he wanted to give it to us. And so we made him sell it to us for $1 because we didn't want to tell anybody that he gave it to us. But now I'm like, you know what? No, he did give it to us. And that was God. That was God giving that to us through him, right? Through that family. And so God has really provided for us. And I had been more fearful about finances just because of my upbringing. I kind of always had that, like, oh my goodness, what are we going to do? Like, but God has really showed me to let go of those fears. Because he's provided over and over.
He
really has. And even still to this day, he just shows up. And I'm just like, whoa, where did this come from?
It's wild, man.
Like, no, that came from God. And so, he's amazing. He's provided over and over. He continues to provide. And I don't worry about the future. And because I just know that he's going to provide like he always has.
Yeah.
That's our story.
Peace.